Hello, welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be beginning the narration and character voicing for the just released, long-awaited side story Il Siracusano. So, before we begin, as per usual, let me say a couple of words before we head into the story. So, first and foremost, to anybody who is new to the channel and might be bumping into it through this very episode, hello and welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. I do narrations here and character voicing for for all things Arknights essentially, be it the currently entirety of the main story that is available on Global, from the very start to the very current finish, until the next part gets released. You can find a playlist on this channel, and many more side stories, including a couple of side stories that are connected to this very story today. And there is much more, so take a peek. But outside of that, before we begin, and speaking of side stories, the very question that I usually ask here at the beginning of this episode is, do you need to know the previous stories to enjoy this very side story? Now, here is the thing with this one. This one might be a bit weirder to explain without spoiling anything, but I would say yes and no. This side story began a long ways back in the Code of Brawl side story. And that side story kicked off many other things as well along the way, but do you actually need to know the entirety of that side story? I would say maybe. Maybe this time it's a good idea to go through that thing first before coming here, just to get a better idea about certain characters that are gonna be almost immediately gonna be appearing through the very introductory scene before we head into the deeper parts of the side story. So it's up to you. If you wanna, you can still enjoy the side story without the prior knowledge of what happened in Code of Brawl and its sorta intermission little scene that is part of the to be continued side story, or rather the vignette side story. But if you do want to go in order, links are in the description of this very video. Code of Brawl on the very top, where it technically all began, and then continued in the, what I would like to call the little tiny intermission section. Just look for part 2 in the playlist of to be continued, and you are golden. The story you're looking for in there is titled Wolf and, I think it's called Wolf and Wolfpack, if I remember correctly. But yeah, pretty much just go in that order and you're gonna be golden to continue here, or you can just keep on going here and see if you liked this side story and want to see where it pretty much all began. But yeah, that's about it. So let's go over a couple of explanations before we get into anything specific. So first off, here in the bottom right corner, oh boy, this is gonna be a thing. So we have here a thing called Critica Artistica. Essentially, I opened this up, I didn't read all of it, I realized very quickly that those are like comments on a stage, I think it's on the stage play that gets discussed about and kinda showcased at the beginning of this story, but I'm not gonna be reading those as we're gonna go with the narrations, but instead, because of a certain, let's call it mechanic in there, I'm gonna be waiting until all of it is unlocked and we are completely done with the narration, and then record a separate episode with pretty much everything that is here in the Critica Artistica section. So that's gonna be like a final part to everything, I guess, once we are done. Outside of that, we obviously have our beautiful little play button in the top right here, which is the CG, beautiful CG that was made for for this very event. However, as I've recently started doing, especially with the CGs that are going with the main story, I started using them in specific ways to better fit them into the story itself. Today's first part will not be including this very CG up there, but I have a feeling I know where it's gonna fit in better, so we're gonna be using that when the time comes. However, there is another thing I will be using. Look forward to that one. Outside of that, let's get into this very thing. So, let me say this. When I opened this map, I immediately had Stultifera flashbacks. And I don't think I was the only one. But it is not as complicated as Stultifera Navis was. That is another can of worms that is kinda very butchered now that I've recently taken a look at it in the intermezzi section. It is very in a very gutted position out there. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's a discussion for a completely other thing. But anyway, for today's beginning of the narration, we're gonna be following with the main story starting here at the, yes, you're seeing right, the Pizzeria Martino. And then we're gonna continue in the Chitanoa Main Street. They're separately titled, this is just the positions on the map. But those two nodes we are gonna hit for the main story today. And yes, if you're looking how the hell is this video that long, oh boy, just you wait. But yeah, we're gonna be hitting those two nodes, complete the story there, and then in the bottom left section, as you can see where it says Azione Solo, we have a special little, how to put it? For those of you who are just following along with the narration, it is kind of like a side adventure of characters. So, once we are done with the main story for today, we're gonna go down into the bottom left and I'm gonna show you what opened after the first stage. If you're new to this, it's definitely something they haven't done before, which is very interesting. Which brings me down to the whole thing of I will not be in the narrations today outside of hitting the notes for the story and what is counted down there for the Azione Solo. I will not be going through the cafe, car wash and the Volcini Grand Hotel to read the descriptions of those. I will rather wait and see what else opens in the solo section down in the bottom left and see if the other characters that are essentially presented in there are gonna be going through those very nodes, and then we're gonna be, as we're going in sequential order, gonna be adding those and narrating through it. Now, I'll say this, I do like how they did certain things here, and that we have stuff like the cutscenes very nicely here separated, so that's gonna make my life easier. And also the battle stages are completely separately in here, so that will make my life even easier. But yeah, this is gonna be our plan for today. Now, also before I go into this, oh boy, how to put this? Obviously, I've said this in previous videos, so people who followed along with other narrations already know. I cannot do accents. If I slip into into some kind of random accent for a character, it's pretty much, it just happens. It just happens. I have no control over it. I'm saying this because I cannot do accents. Do not expect me to do Italian accents for all of these Italian people. However, I will do my best to pronounce the boatload of Italian jargon that is being used in here, including names. So if anybody who is watching this actually speaks Italian and or is Italian, first off, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. This is gonna be very butchered. Probably. I'll do my best. But yeah, this is gonna be definitely one of those recordings. But anyway, how about we begin with our story? So, we are starting here at the Pizzeria Martino. For the pizzeria, it just says the waiters show up only to bring out the menu and serve the food. They know that some conversations are best not overheard. But our story and the description is called, or rather the beginning scene is called Lingering Illness. Texas wakes up from a dream, knowing that her past has come knocking on her door. Dark clouds loom over Volcini. The rainy season has come. So, let's head in. The streets of Colombia as a whole are generally more spacious and vibrant than those of Siracusa. But when walking through these streets, one sometimes feels a sense of emptiness, as if one does not belong. Hey you, car wash guy. Heard you're from Siracusa, so I got a question for you. I'm here to wash cars, not answer questions. Don't be like that, pal. Relax, we're not here to cause trouble for broke-ass bumpkins like you. A group of your countrymen came into town today, and we just want to know where they are. What business do you have with them? Business? Catching up on old times? Old times, huh? Hey, my nonna always used to tell me, never forget that you're Siracusan. You don't look Siracusan to me. Me? Siracusan? Colombia is the future, pal. It's where the gold certificates are. Those are in closure shop, buddy. Not in Colombia. Sorry. The young associate of the Colombian families always heard from their forefathers that they came from Siracusa, but they've never taken it seriously. Your roots will always be in Siracusa. It's the crusty old fossils who say stuff like that. Colombia is a land of pioneers. Roots? We don't need roots. That's right. You'd better tell us where your paesani are, if you don't want any accidents happening to your little shop here. They're in that bar across the street. You got a good head on your shoulders, pal. Don't see a whole lot of wolf pups out there as bright as you. To be a pioneer is to invite chaos, and the Colombian families gradually lost the order they should have had amidst this chaos. But for Siracusa, order stands taller than the law itself. The car wash worker zones out their noise and commotion, turning and slowly opening a cabinet to produce a tool that he is all too familiar with. It is heavy and sharp, having been meticulously polished by the car wash worker. The glint reflecting off its blade reminds one of the moonlight in Siracusa. Then he slowly walks toward the complacent idiots who have their backs turned to him. Like a car wash worker who only wants to scrub the floors before opening up shop. Like a Siracusan. Texas's eyes snap wide open. As her vision comes into focus in the darkness, she sees a poster Exia put up against her will. Her hands transmit to her the sensation of the down quilt that Croissant sold to her at a special price when the season changed. Sora's sleep assisting CD is still playing. All of this lets her breathe a sigh of relief. She understands full well that the dream had never really happened, and that the Colombian family never had a chance to pester the Siracusan guests. As for the car wash worker, she has only met him once. A dream that has no meaning except to remind her of her Siracusan roots. Since coming to Lungmen, she hasn't had this dream in a long while. So why have it now? She unconsciously wants to see the night outside her window. The moonlight still shines bright and clean. Myriad colors still dot Lungmen's nightscape. But within it all is an existence utterly incompatible with everything around it. Outside her window, on a rooftop beneath the moon, A wolf is staring directly at her. If everything surrounding it can be called the creations of civilization, then this wolf is undoubtedly a symbol of the wild wastes. He does not belong here and never should have appeared here. But he still appeared in all his majesty, his figure seeming to tower above everything else around him.
Come. It is time for you to fulfill your end of the deal.
In an instant, Texas understands why she had the dream. Dreams are not necessarily connected to reality, but dreams often are omens. And without a doubt, the dream she had tonight portends that her past has come knocking on her door.
Noisy, excessive, corrupt. How far you've fallen to become indolent in a place like this. But at least you thought of killing me the moment you saw me. That means my trip was still worthwhile.
I can give it a serious try, Taro.
It won't make a difference in the end. Same as 7 years ago. You should feel grateful. Last wolf of familia, Texas. Our deal still stands, which means you still have a chance to pay off your debt. The Wastelands have always played fair.
Stop calling yourself the Wastelands. It has never cut deals with anyone, Signore De Lupi.
Maybe you've just never gotten close enough.
Stop talking in circles. What do you want me to do?
Follow me back to Siracusa. You are to assist my Fang.
Fang.
Fulfill his request and consider your debt paid in full. At that time, whether you choose to return here or remain is no longer of my concern.
Fine. If it ain't Zaro, Lord of Wolves, think you can just show up in my city, take my people, leave like it ain't no thing. Your brain overgrown with weeds, doubt you? Ah, my bad. Forgot you ain't even got a brain.
Emperor, you my wretched kin.
Emperor, my wretched kin. Uh-huh. Those are words.
How long has it been since we last met? 200 years. 3. What is this revolting outfit of yours? What are you dressing up as? What happened to your sheet music? Or your conductor's Bellone? Have you finally tired of pretentiously ticking the ivories atop the lofty spires of Lavinia?
Mind your own business, Otto. As if I remember when the last time we met was. Wish there was a last time. Hope there won't be a next time. And that I forget about this time.
I don't understand. You can choose to step aside and then forget all about it.
Did I stutter? Get your sorry ass back to Siracusa and leave my people out of your shit. I didn't even get how your brothers and sisters still let you and your pups play your little mob games in Siracusa.
There are many paths to victory. This was my decision, and it has nothing to do with you.
You all had some kind of inside deal there, right? Like, you all keep to your own turf, keep out of human business.
Take a good look at yourself. You hardly look any different from humans, and you're telling me to stay out of human affairs. What are these toys of yours to the glaciers that have not melted for tens of thousands of years? What are these ridiculous black losses of yours compared to the lasting darkness of the polar nights? And then there's your so-called music. What need is for music when you already have the coldest wind? Throw all of this away, Emperor. You are forgetting what you truly are. What we truly are.
You made up those rules. They ain't for me. My life ain't your business, Wolfie. They came up with something new, I decided I like it, and I made it mine. Simple as that.
We always belong to the wasteland.
You showed your ass calling this land a waste. Ain't nothing wasted here to me. Think you're any different from the humans? Rolling around the forests of Siracusa didn't get you all hungry for power. You never thought about where all that ambition came from. Zara, you ain't made no progress in millennia. And on top of that, you also picked up the dumbest shit humanity's got on offer. Stow your fangs, kid. That's rude. Kid. He called that being kid. Alright, Grandpa.
There's no point in fighting amongst ourselves. Nothing will come of it. I'm just a messenger, here to claim what's rightfully mine. She isn't even qualified to be my pawn yet.
My people are more than qualified to do anything, including gutting you.
Your people? She doesn't belong to you, Emperor. Perhaps you can ask her opinion.
7 years ago, when I wanted out of Colombia, Zara struck a deal with me. I'd be allowed to go free, and in return I would do him one favor in the future. Without this promise, I wouldn't have made it out of Colombia alive. I know all that. Point is, you're gonna leave with him. Sorry, boss, but I have to honor my word. I don't give no shit about deals and words, Zara. She's my employee. Texas, I could, magnanimous man that I am, give you some vacation time and let you sort through all your business. Got nothing to do with me. I mean, Penguin logistic employees are free, even if they're in Siracusa. And you, Zara, if you dare get up in her business, I'll show up at your stinking lair and rip the tail hairs out of you and every one of your siblings. Make myself a nice broom.
Child of Texas, you may make preparations as you see fit, or say your goodbyes.
No need. Sorry, boss, but I'm going to need a favor. Tell the girls I'm going to be gone for a while, but I'll be back soon. I'll just tell him you were crying about wanting to head back to Siracusa, and you took a long vacation. I tried to stop you, but you wouldn't take no for an answer. Then I'll leave. I'll have to buy them some extra souvenirs and apologize to them when I get back.
If you have nothing to say, let's be off.
Fine. And so, a woman and a wolf walk westward, soon disappearing into the night. The streetlight flicker on and off. Volcini alleyway. Did I make it? Good question. When did you... You're pretty lucky. Right when I took the shot, you bent over to pick up the keys that had fallen under the seat. Who are you people? What did I ever do to you? Did I make it? Did I make it? Can you make it away from air and water? Can a Siracusan ever get away from the rainy season? Who could ever get away from them? Or, well, from us? What familia do you belong to? I've done everything right. No gambling, no debt. I'm just an ordinary clerk at Il Ministero dei Lavori Pubblici. Ah, Il Ministero dei Lavori Pubblici. That's a hot topic around Volcini these days. I know the son of Don Bellone. That's enough talking. Now's my chance. What a pain in the ass. A little trick won't save you. The rain's not letting up, huh? Suddenly, penguin logistics. Want a bite? After all, this is Siracusa, the land of pizza. I've ordered all the flavors the gourmet guy said were worth ordering. At least one of us is in a good mood. You didn't forget why we came here, did ya? Not like worrying about it's gonna do any good. We've been asking around. Those guys in the black suits don't ever say anything. All I heard is that some familia by the name of Bellone recently welcomed a guest. I'm gonna head over and take a look around their place. That scene though... The foul beasts are probably gonna make a detour once they pass by. Ain't that all the more reason to worry? Let me tell you, our girl's from here. With her skills, she won't get into any big trouble. Plus, we came here with the expectation that we might not see her face to face at all. Isn't that right, Sora? Plays and operas are a very robust scene in Siracusa. Whether you're in a tavern or in a theater, there are always many performances to be found. Siracusans from all walks of life regard opera as a way to unwind. They say even the mobsters are no exception. So I thought maybe if I could get into a troupe... Gotta hand it to ya, Sora. Big thinking they're nabbing this chance through Monster Siren records. Coincidentally, my agent just asked if I was interested in going to Siracusa to develop my career, which I turned down because I didn't want to leave Lungmen. But even so, ain't Siracusa opera way different from your usual style? It sure is. Both the choreography and the singing will pose major challenges, plus we're also talking about a completely different kind of stage. But after seeing my performance, the director said he'd be willing to give me a shot. If MSR didn't already have a contact ready to go, I wouldn't have had to keep waiting. Are you sure it's not gonna wake up? Are you sure I'm not gonna wake up to find you also disappear without saying goodbye? That's not gonna happen. I'm not even brave enough for that. Speaking of which, any time for your meetup with your troupe's artistic director? He always had these meetings in some kind of company building or theater before. Crazy he wanted to meet you in a restaurant like this. That's not completely unheard of. Some people prefer to chat in a more natural and everyday setting to get a better feel for the actor. An everyday setting, huh? Popping up in Siracusa like this don't feel natural to me in the least. But all I do is God, her accent. But all I do is hope it goes well. When we get back to Lungmen, Texas is paying for 3 months of boba tea. No, make that 6. Only 6? We got a chance to make her pay through the nose. Wow, the director actually showed. Help me. Huh? What's going on? Look out! Meanwhile... spectacular! I got some great shots from the rehearsals just now.
How was it, Signor Bernardo?
Not bad.
Really?
But not good either. You were too eager to perform, Lena. It's as if you want 10 critics to see 12 different emotions in one of your performances. But that's too excessive for my needs. Just give me one thing, as long as it's yours. Your own grief, your own passion, your own desolation. It's not easy being an actor. You're not a prop on the stage, Lena, and you should not settle for being a prop either.
Si, signor.
Director, guests from Lungmen have arrived. Very good. Are you sure you need to meet with her personally, though? She's just a small-time songstress from Lungmen. I can handle this myself. Lorena, I know that you, as Lena's uncle, have always sought to impede her potential competitors. But you could try to hide it a little better. Wait, I'm not trying to hide anything from you at all. It's just that we don't have a particularly deep relationship with Monster Siren Records. Rather, there isn't a single theater troupe in Siracusa who thinks highly of this agency trying so desperately to wrinkle into our market. But you went beyond expectations in agreeing to the deal to bring one of their singers over to study at our theater. Both logical and emotionally, this doesn't benefit us at all. And now you've even going to meet her personally. It's as you said, Lorena. She is just a small-time songstress from Lungmen, nothing inherently deserving of my attention. But, as you will soon see, the from Lungmen part holds a special significance. Are you talking about? A bodyguard whispering. Thank you. Tell him, don't go overboard. It's our life, isn't it?
These guys are actually using explosive bolts. Are you alright, sir?
I'm fine for now. But you people, you're foreigners, right? You shouldn't have helped me. Getting mixed up with those people is a good way to get killed.
Am I the only one who thinks it's mighty strange that there's a murder in broad daylight and nobody seems to care? These guys are tougher to deal with than the gangsters back in Lungmen.
You're only making trouble for yourself, Straniera.
What a coincidence. The thing I'm second best at is making trouble for myself. By the way, the thing I'm best at is getting rid of those troubles.
You're in Siracusa now.
So what?
So that means you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
Watch out, Exia! Attacking civilians. Which familia are you with? Have you forgotten our ironclad laws?
Ugh, talk about bad timing. No wonder this little run kept running toward Lavinia's commute. Let's get out of here.
Get back here!
Judge Lavinia.
I remember you. You're from Il Ministero dei Lavori Pubblici. What's going on?
I have no idea. I was just heading to work.
From the way those guys were dressed up, they should have known the rules. Then why?
I'm just a law-abiding citizen. I've never even gotten mixed up with any of the familia. Why are they still... Your Honor, don't you think there's been something weird in the air recently?
Are the three of you alright? They're fine, but those guys ended up getting away. Huh, I never expected Siracusa's customs to be so cutthroat. Foreigners in Siracusa should try to be a bit more careful. And who might you be? I am Lavinia, a judge for the city. What about you? You can call me Exia, and she's Sora. And that's Croissant over there. First of all, I would like to thank you. Your brave actions saved the life of this innocent civilian. Need my help chasing those guys down? Don't bother. They know the city like the backs of their hands, and you won't ever catch them. I'll sort out the rest. Where are you from? They came from Lungmen. Might as well give you our business card. If you ever need something delivered, you give us a holler. Lungmen, Penguin Logistics. You're with a logistics company? That's right. No matter what it is, a tiny coin or a big all-burden beast, you can take it wherever you need it to go. Day or night, rain or shine, the customer's satisfaction is our mission. Oh, assuming you have the money to pay, that is. Huh? Is our pitch that funny? No, I'm sorry. I've just been a bit on edge lately. Did you come to Volcini to expand your business or just for pleasure? Either way, you chose an unfortunate time to come. Well, actually, we came looking for a friend of ours.
Lavinia, we're about to enjoy a grand celebration. What better time could there be to visit? A new city is about to be born in Volcini, the greatest event in the history of Siracusa. Should they be lucky enough, our new friends may get to witness its birth.
Bernardo.
Don't worry, these are my guests.
Yours or your troops?
Which would you prefer?
I hope it's neither.
That's too bad then, because the answer is both.
It's not too late to go back to Lungmen right now, Exia.
What do you mean? You always get the wrong idea about me, Lavinia. I wasn't even the one who invited them here. Signorina Sora chose to come to Volcini herself. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir. In fact, I'm grateful to Campagna dell'Abla for being willing to take me. Alright then, since you're Signor Bernardo's guests, you won't have to worry much about your safety, at the very least. Just please contact me if you need something, alright? My number's right here. Can do. Now then, I need to ask this gentleman about what happened to him. The rest of you, enjoy your chat. Bernardo. Oh! Wait, are you the Bernardo, artistic director of Campagna dell'Abla?
That I am.
Oh wow, you came all the way out here just for us?
I've always chosen actors myself. After all, you know what they say about wanting a job done well. And who might those two be?
They're my good friends who came to Siracusa with me. We're her bodyguards too. The name's Croissant. And you can just call me Exia.
Very interesting names.
Shouldn't we be moseying along?
There's no need. The familia associates don't cause trouble without reason. I'm not sure what kind of mess that clerk got himself into, but Siracusa is not without its own order.
This ain't your typical order now, is it?
You think so? I got the impression our Sancta friend here would be quite familiar with it.
Nah, even in Laterano, something like that would have been considered straight-up assault.
She's not wrong. As crazy as the Lateranos are, and I would like to suggest the God Ahead story to check that out. Yep, that would be considered straight-up assault, even in Laterano. The Signora of Siracusa always says she brought guns in order from Laterano, but the reality seems to be a bit different. The customs here might be a bit too extreme for outsiders, but if you plan on spending any amount of time here, you'll want to get used to them as quickly as possible. Setting aside the little intermezzo we just enjoyed, Signorina Sora, is now a good time to discuss your new job.
Oh, of course.
I'm assuming you haven't read the script yet, correct? This is our troupe's latest masterpiece, and your role is found within.
It would be an honor.
We haven't finalized the title of this production yet, but the name our creative team has chosen for this tragedy in 3 acts is La Morte di Texas.
What did you just say?
Oh, seems my play has already captured your attention. Let's take our time and talk. Alright, I almost forgot in all the commotion just now. Benvenuti in Siracusa, mie amiche. It just had to be Lavinia again. Rotten luck. And there was that Sancta too. Why the hell would a bunch of foreigners just show up in Siracusa at a time like this? Plus she had some real skills too. Think it might be true that Signora Cecilia's guy might already be in Volcini. Ugh, who cares? Let's get back and then... Who's there? He's back, baby! Sorry. Relax, Paisani. I ain't your enemy. Who do you belong to? If I had to say, I suppose I'd call myself a Sicilian. A Sicilian? Stop joking around. They got robbed out ages ago. Is that so? I don't have the energy to waste my breath on you, so get out of my way unless you got a death wish. I'm just here to remind you there are people from the court waiting in ambush over there. Steer clear if you know what's good for you. What? Who the hell are you? I never heard nothing about nobody coming to talk to us. Of course you didn't, because I didn't come here to talk to you. That brings me to the second thing I'd like to remind you of. The Sicilians may have been erased, but it didn't die out. What? By the way, we came here to silence you. You talk too damn much. Hope Lapland's not rubbing off on you. That we can agree on. Hey, it's me. We're done here. Stay in place and wait. You're the boss, and like I got a choice. Looks like we chose the wrong day to come back. Why do you say that? Rain. I hate the rain more than anything. It's the rainy season. I already told you before we came back. Now that you don't have your little brother trimming your fur for you, I think you gotta go across the street right now and get it all shaved off. Watch it, or that mob's gonna come right off your scalp. I actually was considering it myself, but my barber talked me out of it. Said my head's lopsided. It looked ugly. But I gotta hand it to you for finding a way to make money so quick. Looks like you spent too much time in Lungmen, Capone. The Lin fella, sure, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve and all, but doesn't Lungmen's governor have him pinned down pretty good? But this is Siracusa, and here the familia run the show. It's easy to find an odd job or two. With so many familia running around, everyone always needs some capable hands. Alright, maybe I was in Lungmen too long. But what really surprises me is how they're still running the same playbook they used to when I left Siracusa. The familia control everything in the city from the shadows, but they never walk out onto the stage. Why do you say that? A new city is about to be born, On the surface, they're in the middle of voting for its administrator. But the truth is, the familia backing these people are constantly jockeying for power. What the hell are you even talking about? If we didn't lose our own city, we'd be doing the same exact thing. I've been away from Siracusa for a long time, Gambino. Was it 8 years? 10. That's a drop in the bucket. What's gonna change it in that amount of time? It's long enough to change the way I see a lot of things, but clearly not long enough to fix your short-sightedness. You know, it ain't like we came to no peace agreement, you and me. Our work just isn't done yet. If you're so eager to die, I'm glad to send you on your way. How can you be so sure that you won't be the one dying? What? How do you know? Bartender, get your ass out here. I didn't think the two of you were on such good terms. Looks like your patron ain't as reliable as you thought, Gambino. Let's be clear here. As long as the two of you complete my commission, I naturally will not mistreat you. However, the commission is not yet complete. You think you can double-cross me? Double-cross? Is this your idea of double-cross? Then I recommend you open your eyes a bit wider, Sicilian. So, where does that put us now? I need to see what you two are capable of. Right here, right now. It's that simple. As long as you walk out of this alley alive, you pass. I thought you were gonna say you'd take both of us at once. My brothers would rake me over the coals for that one. You weren't going to let anyone pass in the first place, or something like that. You sure talk a big game. I'm looking forward to meeting both of you again. Pretentious bastard. Thinks he's human just because he got used to the city. It's been a while since I've heard that. Looks like we don't have a choice. I'll make sure he figures out who doesn't have a choice. If I knew I'd be fighting for my life back in Siracusa, I would have just stayed home. Was that your call to make? Alright, fine. If we didn't show up, we probably would have been turned into Mafia within a day. Whoever is wondering what Mafia is, apparently it's a French name for a confection. Actually, was it a confection? I can't remember. I looked it up hours ago. I completely forgot. It's French for a type of food. Look it up. Anyway, but we followed her here, and she went and disappeared without a word. As if she was saying, I brought you back home. Now you're free to do whatever you want. Go fend for yourselves. The moment you start thinking that is when she pops up right in front of you. You've jinxed it. You look like you got used to life here as well. She will come for us. Oh? Let me ask you this. In Siracusa, who is in bigger danger? A wolf who leaves the pack and goes rogue, or two strays? Well, that's new. Never thought you'd fess up to being a stray mutt. I ain't dumb enough to act like I ain't lost everything. We should admit it sooner. Still, it's pretty obvious that she's trying to play with fire right under Signora Cecilia's nose. Right. We ain't even shit on the side of the road to that woman. And I won't stand for it. If I get the chance, I swear I'm gonna kill her. But then there's her. She doesn't even give a damn about Signora Cecilia. The same Signora Cecilia who sends us a letter and gets us shaking in our boots. And that wasn't enough to get her back to Siracusa, but now she's back all over another lone wolf. Oh, what was it that she asked again? Right. How we ended up so scared of Signora Cecilia? You scared of her, Capone? Honestly, yeah. Nobody can really go against Signora Cecilia. Every Siracusan's afraid of her. So, you wanna see how she dies? I wanna see how she lives. Hate to admit it, but I'm with you. That's why we need to stay alive. Meanwhile, another civilian servant got attacked, and a Bellone associate to boot. Yeah, someone's clearly trying to pick a fight. Huh, serves them right. If you ask me, it's probably the Rossatis behind it. Those scumbags. And their bag of petty tricks. Disgusting. But a lot of the Dici family, the Dici family have already said they support the Bellones taking over the new city. So what's the point of pulling a stunt like this now? Hard to say. Don's son, Lontuzzo, is now secretary at Il Ministero dei Lavori Pubblici. If someone has the skills to take him out along with Il Ministro himself, wouldn't that blow things wide open again? Considering that Run's dumb enough to send his own familia aside, set his own familia aside to be a yes man for the government. You say that, but are you forgetting how many associates ate shit over the last 2 years because they underestimated him? Oh, I almost forgot. You were one of them. Ugh, I'll admit, the Run's got some talent, and that's only because the Don's been sitting on his hands the whole time. Once he decides to call the shots... That's true. The Don hasn't done anything yet, and the Bellonas can't name themselves the winners so soon. Enough. The entire room suddenly falls silent, the clamor and chatter from before seeming like nothing more than an illusion. I don't care what you believe deep down, but during this tense time you don't make light of the situation, and you don't do anything rash. I know what you're all thinking. I get it. Of the Dodici family, only our familia Saluzzo hasn't yet placed our wager. It is still too soon for that. Yes, Don Alberto. Since time immemorial, familia Saluzzo has always been like this. One is allowed to think, but not to advise, because Alberto Saluzzo calls all the shots. Alberto never allows anyone to question his decisions. Nobody in the familia finds this unusual. They say that the Saluzzo's strength comes from the fact that Alberto is always correct.
Everyone's here? My, now that I look closely, I see a lot of old faces.
You're... But that is not to say that there are no rebels. Only most of them have been erased from the familia and were never heard from again. With the exception of a white wolf named Lapland. She pulls a chair over and props her feet up on the table, and is as if she owns the place. Who let her in? Don Alberto, she killed everyone outside and forced her way in. This is a familia meeting. Get her out of here. Signorina, Lapland, the Don has asked you to leave.
I turned down Signora Cecilia's lunch invitation and rushed back like a good little foul beast, eager to return to its nest. This hideout we have in Volcini, it's kinda drab compared to the old Saluzzo stronghold. Tony, do you have to treat me so cold?
You're no longer an associate of this familia.
What? You think I came back to beg the old man to let me back into this this most distinguished familia?
Please watch your words, signorina.
Right. Even though I was so disgracefully kicked out, this familia has always had a special place in my heart. So, at this critically important time, I have chosen to come back home, at risk to my own life, ignoring my father's disdainful glare, to bring back a vital piece of intelligence. Does that not move you to tears?
Lapland, even if you are the Don's own daughter, you've overstepped your bounds. This is no place for you to run... Rockshot. You...
Never seen that guy before. Was he new?
Yes, Signorina Lapland.
You're so cruel, father, to doubt the sincerity of my actions.
You got my desk dirty, Lapland.
Desks can be replaced, right?
Let's hear it then, your so-called vital intelligence.
Texas.
The same Texas you let go?
That's right. Bellone brought her back.
Lapland squints at her father. This homecoming has not inspired a single shred of emotion within her. She carries with her only a faint glimmer of amusement as to what might happen, or rather, what she is about to make happen. Because she has been in such environments far too many times in her life. She has returned. The thoughts that inadvertently bubble up in her mind seem ever so laughable. And in another place? Chile.
Just call me Texas.
Alright, Texas. How does it feel to be back in Siracusa?
Not too great.
I can imagine. If I were you, I wouldn't feel too great about suddenly being forced to go somewhere, even if it was my homeland. Though, if this isn't too much to ask, I'd like you to imagine this as well. Your father suddenly forced a bodyguard onto you, and she's a whole lot stronger than you. That's not a great feeling either.
Understandable.
That's what I wanted to hear. Unfortunately, I don't have the power to let you leave. All I can say is I hope we can both do what we need to do. Go ahead and get changed. We had this outfit custom tailored in old Familia Texas style. I hope you can be my bodyguard tonight and accompany me to the banquet.
Sure.
Beside Texas lies the well-pressed suit that Familia Bellone has prepared for her. She looks toward the tightly shut door. She knows what she's about to... she knows what she is supposed to do. To fulfill Zaro's contract, she needs to exit this room, kill a few irrelevant people, create some chaos, and then finally kill a few important people. Irrelevant or important, this is the attitude Siracusans have towards life. She too used to think like that. Even now that she has learned to see the world through a different lens, as soon as she stepped back into the city, she quickly realized that these practices were still ever so familiar to her. She has returned. The thoughts that inadvertently bubble up in her mind fill her with disgust.
Purtroppo è così. Nessuno può sfuggire al proprio passato. Neppure la mia famiglia.
Un tempo eravamo potenti. Avevamo il controllo su qualsiasi cosa. Ma non è rimasto nulla. La pioggia ha spazzato via tutto. È il codice d'onore dettato da signora Sicilia. E questo è il prezzo per averlo violato. Anche se non siamo più a Siracusa. Anche se ci piace pensare di aver abbandonato le nostre vecchie identità. Anche se abbiamo fatto tutto il possibile per evitarlo. Ci troverà sempre. Non c'è via di fuga. Il nostro sangue appartiene qui. Questo è l'unico posto dove dovrebbe scorrere. Fattene una ragione. Sei ancora una siracusana.
Alright, see how well that one fits in there? But yeah, we'll find a better place for the other CG to fit it in, but that one fits amazingly, that space. But anyway, we are now gonna continue on to the Chitanoa Main Street. Oh, speaking of that chair right there, that reminds me, or rather this scene that we've just watched completely reminded me that I keep saying Signora Sicilia instead of Signora Sicilia. Keep messing that one up because of obvious reasons, but I'm gonna try to remember. I'm probably gonna forget. Anyway, we're gonna continue here. Now the scenes are separate, and this is a bit stupid, quite honestly, but the scenes are separate, but as per usual, we're gonna add the description of the Chitanoa Main Street now, plus the title of the stage and the description up there on the right. So, the Chitanoa Main Street. The buildings along Chitanoa's Main Street boast magnificent architecture, but their sharp edges and corners are a bit too sharp for some familia's tastes. And our stage, our first battle stage, is called Silent Raindrops. The rain has gone on for too long, so long that we could no longer tell truth from lies, so long that we could not see who has walked into the rain. And then we go over here. Now I'm gonna just go straight into the thing because clicking on this is literally like going into the archive and clicking on, or rather going into any of the separate episodes when just the scenes are recorded in there, and literally the description is literally a like short form of what happens in in the whole thing, or the like more important part that happens in the whole thing. So I'm gonna click on that and we're gonna go straight in. So Silent Raindrops, before part. Also, goddamn them for using this music right here. Anyway, welcome to Teatro di Milano, signorina mie.
Wow, this place is breathtaking.
Siracusans love to kill time here to the accompaniment of music and performance. After all, the reality is monotonous and difficult to change. People naturally need a place to indulge their fantasies, or to equate their bloodstained business dealings with the legendary exploits of the heroes on stage to obtain a sense of moral satisfaction.
Wow, you really don't pull any punches, huh?
Of course not. In this line of work, we must be clear-eyed about our own profession, no? Your friends over there seem to have been on their guard from the very beginning.
I don't mean to disrespect, Mr. Director, but the way I heard it, you were calling that play you're rehearsing...
The Morte di Texas.
The Death of Texas? That might be the crappiest joke I've ever heard.
Hmm? You seem to be well acquainted with that name. That's fairly unusual among foreigners. Siracusans rarely bring it up in the first place, and the mafiosi here are even more secretive about it. But the story of Familia, Texas is one that every mafioso must always keep in their hearts. It is a cautionary tale.
A warning.
Let's talk about the script itself first. There are countless works based on the deeds of Familia, Texas, but not a single one dares to actually print the name. Playwrights are more inclined to reimagine or adapt, with the help of allusion or parody. After all, it is against their interests to involve trouble. However, times change, and today's audience finds true history far more salient than fairy tales with falsified names. Would you agree? As such, a remarkable individual has brought this script before us. It's a play in 3 acts. The first act harkens back to the era when Colombia was first established, with many a Siracusan familia yearning for this underdeveloped land. Consequentially, the familia each dispatched their own teams, one after another joining the ranks of Colombia's first pioneers. In an era when chaos and opportunity came hand in hand, some were swallowed by the tides of the time, while others found it in their promised land. The cream of the crop among them was Salvador, Texas, a man who would later establish his very own era.
I know he means the surname and not her, but still. So, Texas is one of Siracusa's families?
To be precise, there were a familia that originated in Siracusa, but took root in Colombia. Such familia are hardly unusual over there. From beginning to end, though, old Salvador saw himself a Siracusan, through and through. And the Siracusans in turn rewarded him with his perseverance, always affording him a Siracusan respect.
The Siracusans.
The second act chronicles some of the most praiseworthy episodes from his storied struggle in Colombia. Siracusans can be found everywhere in the shadows of Colombia's history, and it is precisely amidst that tide that Salvador gathered his familia. In truth, the contents of this act are the best known of the 3. Even across various retellings, they're almost always the same. Accounts of the Siracusan in Colombia can be found in over a dozen versions in any local bookstore, mostly romance novels borrowing the phantom of his name, so to speak. Perhaps there may even be a few words of truth among them. If you're interested in that, I can point you to some of the less outrageous ones.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Think nothing of it. Now on to the third act. This is the one that can change most dramatically between versions.
Because it deals with the fall of the Texas family?
That's right. Outsiders only know one thing for certain about the fall of Familia, Texas, and that is that Salvador was murdered by his own son, Giuseppe, who later declared that Familia, Texas would break away from Siracusa's familia system. This act angered Signora Sicilia and incurred her retribution. In a single night, the Texas name was wiped from existence.
The entire Texas family disappeared in a single night?
At least, that's what every Siracusan believes. As far as what exactly happened during the liquidation of Familia, Texas, nobody except the parties involved have any way of knowing.
Excuse me, how come there are only scripts of the first two acts here?
That is because the third act is not yet finished. Each playwright will invariably imagine their own version of how this process unfolds, arriving at completely different developments and outcomes. In that regard, our playwright seems to have reached an impasse. That said, the contents of the first two acts are already exceptional on their own merits, so I purchased the work without hesitation.
Mr. Bernardo, is it possible that one of the heirs of the Texas family survived the chaos? Like, maybe she managed to leave Colombia and escape to a different city? For example, Lungmen?
Lungmen? If I recall, that's where you ladies hail from. Apparently, Salvador did not have a particularly amicable relationship with his son. But he doted on his granddaughter, even sending her back to Siracusa, where she was fostered by familia Siracusa for several years. Nobody has seen or heard from her since the liquidation, though. In fact, nobody can conclusively say if she was even involved in this at all. Some say she's been seen in Colombia, or even along the border of Siracusa. Therefore, different accounts of Familia Texas's story tend to have different endings when it comes to her. She was said to possess their iconic black hair and orange eyes.
And I'm speaking hypothetically here, if the last descendant of the Texas family is still alive and has returned to Siracusan soil once again, what would happen then?
Certainly a thought-provoking hypothetical, one with any number of possible developments. Playwrights tend to build their own work around such logic. Sadly, Signorina Sora, reality does not abide by logic.
Some say that she is the guest of a family by the name of Bellone. Some say that the Bellones are the most powerful family in the city. Some say that she left everything behind to go there, not even giving herself a chance to say goodbye. No, we came all the way here to find her.
Your bravery is commendable. Since you have been so frank with me, bringing secrets even I have never heard, allow me to be frank with you in turn. Familia Bellone and their guests have indeed frequented this theater, graciously offering their patronage to our humble performances.
Really?
Call it coincidence or call it fate. Is that not how all stories unfold? If that guest truly comes to pay us a visit, then our troupe will be sure to extend her an enthusiastic welcome. Rumor has it that she is a woman of a few words, whose twin swords speak for her. Her name is Chelinia, Texas. Stop showing that plate of thistles in my face, Lavinia.
The seasoning here isn't as bad as you make it out to be. Give it a try.
I'm going to have to pass again.
Are you trying to save some room in your stomach for a cold dinner with those smug mafiosi friends of yours back home, who reek of cigar butts? After all, only the things that happen there have any real value.
No, I just seriously can't stand artichokes.
Leon, I've already lost count of the number of violent incidents that have broken out in this city over the past month. Just this morning, a citizen nearly died at this very restaurant.
You're a judge. You should know better than anyone else that Siracusa was built on violence. Should there ever come a day when there aren't any unidentifiable corpses lying in the alleys, then that would be real news.
The victim was an employee of il Ministero dei Lavori Pubblici, your Ministero.
Who did it?
It would appear that Lentuzzo, son of Don Bellone, deigns to inquire about the life and death of a citizen only when it concerns its career.
Your Honor, Lavinia Falcone, I really do not have the energy to clap back at you right now. We can all feel this, that this city has been on edge recently, waiting for something big to happen.
Something bigger than the Bellone's ultimate victory?
If we really are allowed to take the reins, I, for one, do not intend to continue tolerating the thugs that prowl in the cover of darkness. Lavinia, you're familiar with the way I do things?
I sure hope so.
Over 100 years ago, when Siracusa first turned from a plot of land into a country, its territory consisted of the 22 cities controlled by the Dodici familia. And to this day, the number has never changed.
Just like Siracusa's ironclad tradition. But finally, after so many years, our ever-immutable Siracusa is about to give birth to a new nomadic city.
A new nomadic city means new opportunities, new ambitions, and new hopes. You're exactly right. We are indeed at victory's doorstep. Economy, traffic, and route planning. We and our friends have already been spreading our influence through every facet of Volcini's new urban area. When that area is formally built into a new city, we will have the right to lead the future of Siracusa. At least that's what the more optimistic associates of the familia believe.
And do you consider yourself one of those optimists?
I very much hope I am. That said, the old fellas over at Grey Hall haven't reached their final decision yet. There is no future to look forward to until everyone there has formally left the chips fall.
Are we still looking forward to the same future, Leon?
Of course. Alright, it's about time for me to head off. Before the banquet starts, I have to first pick up a certain friend. Meanwhile, the friend.
This whole city is sopping wet.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
I was just looking around.
Signorina Texas, how do you feel about the way your hometown has changed?
These newfangled streets and alleys? That hardly counts as change. The way I see it, it's exactly the same as the day I left. And this outfit, I don't think it's a very good idea.
Consider it your very first gift from Familia Bellone. Hopefully you'll find that our tailor has not besmirched the former glory of Familia Texas. Please, be at ease and accept it.
So if I'm not at ease, can I refuse?
Unfortunately, I'm afraid that is not an option.
Guess I'll have to find a way to ease up then. So, what's my job here?
It's very simple. You'll join me at tonight's banquet, where I'll proudly announce in front of everyone that I, the son of Don Bellone, have enlisted a bodyguard who's inherited the Texas name. Then you'll kill all of the overzealous, power-hungry idiots there, and we'll call it a day.
I'd actually be down for that.
Same. If only it were that... if only it ever were that easy. Alright, Texas. In the 2 days I've left you in the city, I've been hard at work conditioning my mind. I've been trying to tell myself that the Texas name is worth a whole lot more than trouble you're going to bring. That way, I can gradually come to terms with the terrifyingly dangerous situation I've been dealt.
The Texases are already dead.
Unfortunately, not everyone believes that.
Maybe you're the one misreading how much influence a ruined familia can have.
Maybe, but I'm not just talking about Familia Texas here. I'm also talking about you. You once returned to Siracusa from Colombia, only to leave again. The way I heard it, every familia involved in the liquidation tried to kill you on your way out, but every last one of them failed. They were all made to pay a heavy price, and it was all sparked by a single woman. You.
I just work for Penguin Logistics. I do deliveries.
If you've already made your assessment of how much you're worth to Siracusa today, then let me assure you that I know at least as much as you do. First things first, Signorina. You must have some idea of what's going on in Volcini, right?
A new nomadic city.
Precisely. And regardless of whether you acknowledge it or not, this plan is closely tied to your family name. Or should I say, it was brought on by the fall of Familia Texas. The collapse of the Texases dealt a mortal blow to the authority of Colombia's familia, and they had no choice but to return to Siracusa's embrace. They brought back Colombian technology as the price for regaining our trust. Finally, Siracusa had acquired the ability to build a new city of its own. However, the most pressing issue quickly became who would have the rights to own it, and the power struggle within Grey Hall began the moment the plan to build the city was completed 5 years ago. Today that power struggle is finally drawing to a close. As one of the oldest familia, we, the Bellones, have the opportunity to seize victory. Volcini's backup core is already being retrofitted to serve as the core of the new city, and new plates are steadily being built. In a year's time, perhaps even less, it will be completed. And your mission is to help Familia Bellone turn this opportunity into a decisive victory.
Sounds to me like what you needed was just a good enough hitman.
But when the hitman's name is Texas, that might just change everything. Do you still remember the Rosati name?
Rosati? Yeah, that rings a bell.
After the Texases were liquidated, the familia that had taken root in Colombia lived in constant fear of becoming the next target of Signora Sicilia's wrath. That's when Familia Rosati took the initiative to approach her themselves. They were the ones who brought back the technology to develop nomadic cities. For a brief moment, the Rosatis were poised to succeed the Texases, even managing to squeeze into one of the 12 seats of Grey Hall that no Texas had ever touched.
This seems like one of those boring stories that goes nowhere.
Boring and brutal. Grey Hall has always been like that, open only to the winners. And the boss of Familia Rosati, stationed in this city, Signor Valak, will not be content lapping up the scraps we Bellones leave behind.
And here I was thinking the dour mood around here was because of the rainy season.
I'll be frank with you, Volcini has not been peaceful these last few months. A few of our friends have found themselves in various kinds of accidents. Along with them, the familia who still remains on these sidelines may end up changing their minds, and there is no guarantee that the familia that have already chosen their alliances won't betray them later. When Signora Sicilia established Grey Hall, she laid down an ironclad rule: do not kill. In other words, the familia have a lot of leeway to do whatever they want, short of killing one another.
Could have fooled me.
You are still standing in front of me after all.
And so, you invited me back. You don't need me to do anything in particular. I just have to get up on the stage you've prepared and announce that I've returned. And that stage is tonight, correct?
Signorina Texas, are you aware that the fall of the Texases has been adapted into one opera after another, performed across various major theaters? In those stories, you, Celinia Texas, are always portrayed as an ignorant child, helpless in the face of your family's collapse. But right now I can say for sure that you are anything but. I truly want to know, what exactly did you experience during that liquidation?
You've returned, Your Honor. Yes, is something going on? Remember how Alessia said she recently met a pretty nice guy?
The one who runs the textile shop?
So you knew after all?
Yes, we've crossed paths a few times back when I was investigating a case. He's familia...
Yes, familia Jelly. Though they're not a particularly major familia, they still control all the textile businesses for a few streets down. I heard they even have business dealings with some of the familia that make their way in and out of Grey Hall.
Yes, we know.
Alessia has been talking us up for ages. She said the guy's going to bring some of his siblings along so we can all have a good time together. It's been so busy around here lately, I haven't had a chance to cut loose and unwind. Oh, Your Honor, you aren't going, right?
Right, I still have some work to do. Tell them I send my regards.
Okay, will do.
Oh, right, did you get a chance to look through those files?
Which files?
The mass disappearance of Via Como. Family of 5, remember? I've located a potential witness and I'm trying to convince him to testify.
But Judge Angelo declared that case closed as of this afternoon. He said that family just moved to another city. Then he added that we still have too many things to do and shouldn't waste our time and energy on cases like this.
Unless I am misremembering, I am the judge presiding over this case.
The court made a decision internally yesterday. You weren't present for the meeting.
Is that so? I get it. Right, this case is certainly not worth the time and energy. It's only 5 people after all. The husband drives a taxi around the city. The wife picks tomatoes on a farm. They have 3 children, the oldest only 13 years of age, the youngest still breastfeeding. The neighbors were reluctant to say anything, and no matter who I asked, they all said that life must move on. There was no screaming in the night, no crying by the lake, and no traces of blood left by their squeaky clean floorboards. Alright then, life must move on, and they had it coming for crossing a familia. Or maybe their luck was so rotten they didn't even notice they were being targeted. After all, the familia always say they would never attack ordinary civilians. And as for us judges, there are always more important things to attend to, right?
Your Honor, I've always had the greatest respect for you. To be honest, I have no idea what an ideal judge is supposed to look like. Even though the Signora modeled our courts after Laterano's and codified our laws after Colombia's, none of us have ever seen a real one of Sancta's wandering judges, and Colombia's Code of Law is but an excerpt from a book. What I would rather believe is that an ideal judge should be someone as determined to uphold justice as you are. But not everyone has your talents, or your connections with familia Bellone. You don't have to constantly fear for your life.
No,
You can casually grab a light meal with the son of the Don. And earlier this morning, Judge Angelo received a letter sealed in a black envelope.
Which familia is behind this case?
Does it make a difference as far as we're concerned? Do you still remember last month how Judge Starocci was dragged by his friends to chat in a car for an entire afternoon? He hasn't been able to lift his right hand since then. Then there's Judge Borriello, the chubby, always jovial old lady. How long has it been since she came to work? You're right. In theory, we were supposed to represent that woman's will, But what is it that even supposed to be? At least I can't figure it out. Courage and persistence are great things to have, of course, but Judge Lavinia, please do not laugh at the wet clothes of us folks who stand beneath the eaves. After all, you have nothing to lose. Is that so? Perhaps the price I pay is the right to truly be just. Oh, the phones here don't ring very often. They usually prefer to come settle things privately. Or should I say they look to settle things with us privately. Hello? Got it. I'll be there right away. Your Honor, you know you don't have to take everything so seriously. I know. Should I bring back some macaroni for supper? We're going to a restaurant with pretty good reviews. Appreciate it.
Alright. And we are gonna be directly continuing with the next part.
You'll know the kind of person he is, but I understand him. Don't you think we place too much faith in our ability to understand someone? Don't you think we're all too easily blinded by the illusion born of emotion and impulse? Salvatore, he deserves to step out of Colombia's dark alleyways. My sister, he's a Siracusan, and you know nothing about how he operates. You really think he could help us get rich? All he's gonna do is get himself burned, and we're gonna get caught in the middle. He usually he uses his fists to protect himself, and then law and order to shackle his fists. Is that not enough for you? Get your head out of the clouds already. No, brother. Other Siracusans wear their scars and bloodstains like badges of honor. Only he knows that blood is nothing more than blood. So, Sora, how is my acting? Want me to give it to you straight? You bet I do. Absolutely terrible. Exia, you've got like zero talent for this.
I feel called out. Even though I did intentionally bad. Considering acting, voice acting, character acting, in-character acting? Ugh. That fucks with your brain. Anyway.
Huh? I feel like I'm pretty emotionally invested though. Just being emotionally invested doesn't make you a good actor. But as far as the script is concerned, you're on the right track. At least you aren't flubbing any of your lines.
Unlike how I flubbed yours.
How low were your expectations? What do you think, Croissant? Pretty darn good if you ask me. Only thing is, when you're expressing your dissatisfaction with the brother, think you could dial the emotions back a notch? So try to get the point across some other way. I can give that a try in a moment. Oh, Croissant, since when were you an expert? Hey, don't underestimate a gal who sits in on Sora's classes every week. Not like a certain two someones who come and go without a word. Hey, I'd never leave without saying anything. Not what I meant. But at least this proves we'll be able to find her for sure, right? Damn straight we will.
Quite a unique performance.
Excuse me, but are you...
Just so we're clear here, I completely have no idea how to pronounce this name. Could not find anything when I was looking shit up, and whatever.
My name is...
Bento. No, how did I go through that one? Bento. I have no idea. Ben. I forgot. I had it, but whatever. Ben. Thank you, Exia.
Oh, hello, Ben something or other?
Totally my call. Feel free to call me Ben.
Sure thing, Ben. Excuse me, Mr. Ben, if there's nothing you need from us, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave. We're still in the middle of rehearsal.
Of course there is. I'm currently watching the performance, am I not?
I don't think someone who's walking around eating pizza counts as watching anything.
Am I not allowed to watch the performance while enjoying pizza?
Well, don't theaters usually have rules against that?
That's a rule imposed on people by the theater, not by the play itself. Norms have a way of making people superficially conflate these things and hold them with the same degree of reverence, even erecting false pedestals upon which to elevate them. True reverence, however, is much harder to find.
Huh?
That is the appropriate reaction to that one. Huh? Would you like a bite, young lady?
You betcha.
God damn it.
Ugh, the texture's awful.
It's the cheapest street pizza you can find, after all. That said, their sauce is actually quite respectable.
So if you were watching our performance just now, what do you think of it?
The key takeaway is that there are some differences between the methods of capturing the expressing emotions that you seem to be adept at versus the demands of opera. You are clearly used to standing in front of an audience, or should I say, you're so used to it that it makes it hard for you to stand on stage as an actor. That is not an indicament of your abilities, but is nevertheless a trial you must overcome.
Oh, I didn't expect you to be a total pro at this.
Think about it. You are the daughter of a wealthy Colombian magnate. He, Salvador, is a vagrant from Siracusa. He's different from all the other men you've ever met. He does not care about your status but values you for who you are. He's more indolent than anyone else, yet also cleverer. He seems destined to become Don of a familia, setting off on a perilous road from which there is no turning back. Tell me, young lady, is this someone you could love?
Someone I could love.
No, you are terrified. The more you love him, the more he terrifies you. You have no chance of keeping him. Your intuition tells you that you should escape, that he never belonged to you. You've told yourself countless times that he's just another passerby on the road of life, that even if he slips away, you can find innumerable others who are better. You know what it is you chase after him. Your life will become as a landship in an endless desert, unable to see your course. You don't even know if the decision you made is right or wrong. But despite all that, you still turn to your relatives and yell,
"Only he knows that blood is nothing more than blood." Ah. Oh. So that's the feeling I've been missing this whole time.
Yet you already seem to understand it well, young lady.
Let's give it another run through, Exia. Let me get a sip of water first. Ha! You ain't getting away that easily when Sora's in the zone. I'll go fetch some drinks for you all, and grab some grub while I'm at it. Mr. Ben, anything you'd... Huh? Where'd he go?
Meanwhile... the police are finally here. Over here, ma'am.
I'm not the police. I am Lavinia, a municipal judge for Volcini. Siracusa has no police, signor.
What? No police?
Are you a foreigner? In this country, they are the ones responsible for maintaining law and order on the streets.
Who are they? I'm just visiting for some business discussion, so I don't quite understand.
I'm talking about the mafiosi. You'd best steer clear of them.
I know that much.
Where's the scene of the crime?
Take a look for yourself. Right here, behind the dumpster.
5 people. They couldn't have died more than a day ago. From their outfits, they seem to be from the same familia. Hold on.
What's wrong, ma'am?
I saw them just this morning. They attacked a public official earlier. I confronted them about it, but let them go. But why here of all places? And their leader isn't with them either. I've always heard that Siracusa is a dangerous place. No, if this was a conflict within familia, they would have made sure to clean up the scene. This doesn't make any sense. For your own safety, act as if you never saw anything. I'll handle the rest here. Yes, ma'am. Damn it. I need to get out of this godforsaken place this instant. Signorina Lavinia, I didn't expect you to ever call me first. Demetri, notice any flamboyant hitmen around town recently? Huh, you'd have to either be incredibly brave or incredibly stupid to stick your neck out these days. Do you need me to throw last month's crime reports in your face? I think there's been a little misunderstanding here. Just now, 5 bodies were found in a back alley on Viale Orvieto. The scene wasn't cleaned up, which suggests it wasn't the work of one of the familia. And just this morning I saw these same folks attacking a public official. Huh. Now that's new and exciting. I don't care about the little power struggle between you people, but don't forget that our ironclad rule still stands. Setting aside recent developments, even in ordinary times, the fact still stands that Volcini is run by familia Bellone and has a judge as principled as you. Pulling a stunt like this is tantamount to spitting in our faces, and nobody would dare to do something like that. Unless they're Colombian. Is that what you wanted to say? It could be anyone who doesn't give 2 shits about the rules we've set. Just keep me posted if you learn anything. I don't recall having to answer to you, Your Honor. Is this not also tantamount to spitting in the face of familia Bellone? Fine then, I'll tell Leon. Maybe he has enough spare time on his hands. First, attacks on government officials, now hitmen out of nowhere. Is there really a connection between these? The humid air creeps inside. Lavinia's mind races with the details of the latest case as she makes her way back to the courthouse. She knows full well what looms overhead, but everyone here, including herself, takes it for granted. At the entrance to the courthouse, Lavinia looks over at her car and cannot help but let out a sigh. It has been splashed with paint and now stands out conspicuously amongst its neighbors. A simple gesture of malice. These acts used to make her feel at a loss for words, but now they trouble her no more than the continuous drizzle. Of course, there is still the cost of getting the car cleaned. Sorry. Be careful out there, Signorina. The rain doesn't seem like it'll let up anytime soon. You might slip if you don't watch your step. Thanks for the reminder, but you don't seem to have an umbrella either. I'm not a fan. I rather enjoy the feeling of raindrops on my skin. Then I hope you also watch your step. Why are you trying to provoke her? And what makes you think that's what I'm doing? Oh, you think you've got me all figured out now, huh? Forget I said anything. I was trying to provoke her, though. She had a familiar scent on her. One I hate. Suit yourself, but you're the one who wanted us to break into familia Bellone, and I think this is just making us more suspicious. I need to know exactly what is happening in the city and why they wanted to bring Texas back. So, What do you reckon we do? Work our way up from hired guns? Rise through the ranks until we become the Bellone's top hitman?
Well, Gambino would probably like the sound of that at least.
That's way too inefficient. You guys need some bargaining chips, isn't that right? So where is Gambino?
Already on his way to the middleman, to cash in the bounty.
Huh, look at that! Here in Siracusa, he's a lot better than you at climbing the ranks.
I don't deny that. After spending so much time in Lungmen, I'm more shocked at how this place hasn't changed a bit. Not used to it at all anymore.
Trust me, you'll get used to it again soon enough. Just like Gambino. After all, you were a Siracusan.
You really gonna let him plant his roots down here again?
Why not? There's nothing stopping you either. Be loud and proud about it. I certainly wouldn't get in your way.
The more I think about it, the less I understand. What exactly are you trying to accomplish?
I'm just enjoying the rainy season. What? Do you not like the rain?
All I know is Gambino hates the rain. So, what news did you get your hands on?
Wanna find out?
Sure, say I do. What would you have me do?
You're in luck. I just happen to be in need of a driver.
Come on in, Signor Instigator. I came back alive, bartender. Your skills are not bad, but neither you, Gambino, nor that friend of yours who left for Lungmen 8 years ago, Capone, are good enough. Don't start talking like you're some hot shit cub. You're just like the rumors said, completely clueless as to when you should and shouldn't press your luck. Is that not how the last Sicilians lost their favor of Signora Sicilia? Look at the ones today. What can they do now, except cling to their last pathetic scrap of glory? Listen up, Gambino. I don't give a shit what you and Capone came back to Siracusa to do, nor do I care who's backing you behind the scenes. All I care about is your ability and the kind of work you can do. So, what do you think of our work then? You're not one of us, and you've got guts. Both are good. So you keep doing good work for me, and I pay you. The better you do, the more you get paid. Simple as that. You want to see Bellone. Once you've satisfied me, I'll arrange a meeting. I'm going to do such a good job that you'll regret it. You know, I don't hate the fact that you Sicilians ooze ruthlessness from your bones. That's something Siracusans could use more of these days. So, let's see you try. When the time comes, you'll realize that I never regret a thing. The banquet is about to begin, and people have been lining up early to wait outside the door. Welcome, Mr. Bento. And you are? Rubio. We met at the banquet last week. Ah, I remember now. Il segretario di Siracusa Alimentare. Rubio. I do apologize for this porous mind of mine. Seeing as you're here, I'm sure tonight's meal is not to be missed. Hardly, good sir. But as we are expecting some rather esteemed guests tonight, I did put in a little extra effort. I see. Over here, Beato. I'll be right there. Now, if you'll excuse me. Who was that? Rubio, segretario di Sicurezza Alimentare. What? He's actually a government official looking like that. I ignored him when I first came in because I thought he was just a doorman. Not that you're missing out on much, he might as well be a clown. Why do you say that? He's not from one of the familia, and after a lifetime of struggling, the best position he could claw himself into was the director of that no-name Dipartimento. And after he landed the position, he went around kissing the asses of various familia until he somehow managed to bumble his way into some renown. Nowadays, his Dipartimento pretty much caters all events in Volcini, large and small. He doesn't care about his image at all, standing in front of the door to greet the guests like that. I mean, you saw him. I see. That's it, though. There is a thing or two we could learn from his sorry mug. I must congratulate you, Rubio. Oh my, what might the occasion be? Word on the street is that young master Leontuzzo will be attending the banquet tonight. The heir to Familia Bellone, the great celebrity by Caracci's side, has never attended a banquet like this before. This is your big break, isn't it? Signor Valak, you must have been quite pleased with the batch of steaks I sent you the other day. Otherwise, I'm sure you wouldn't be calling me just to joke around in such a manner. Things have changed, Rubio. I may be the boss of Familia Rosati in this city and made a bit of a name for myself, but there are still plenty of rules I must abide by. For example, I have to break the bread of fellowship with a guy like you. Your support is always appreciated. It's good that we all treat each other like family. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. If we have any issues, we settle them on the table. None of us enjoy spending a day fighting and killing each other. It's just a necessity born of circumstance. Isn't that right? Indeed. You work too hard these days, Signor Valak. Il Ministero dei Trasporti is headed by a Bellone, and he normally keeps his distance from me. Not much I can do to him. But Il Ministro El Commercio is a smart man, a good friend of mine. Naturally, he enjoys the Rosati's full support. The host of tonight's banquet, Caracci, Minister dei Lavori Pubblici, is an unpredictable man, though. Even though he's got Bellone's little pup following him around, he manages to stay on decent terms with everyone. Rubio, food safety is very important, is it not? I do hope you are also a smart man. Of course, of course. The VIP has just arrived just now. Excuse me, I must be off. See you. Sometime earlier. I know how strong you are, Signorina Texas. Unfortunately, I am not a man who enjoys resorting to violence. Using force is the least efficient method. So if you were expecting to leave Siracusa after making a few heads roll on my behalf, I'm afraid you'll be quite disappointed. Just tell me what I need to do. Caracci, Volcini's Ministro dei Lavori Pubblici. He is responsible for the construction of the new nomadic city plate. He is also one of our men, and I need you to protect him. A government official? I know what you're going to say. The government is just the cloth draped over Grey Hall's round table. Every associate of every familia remembers Signorina Sicilia's lament. There was once a time when we never took stock of the vases and cutlery sitting on our tablecloth. But right now, it's something we must pay close attention to. When the Colombians brought new things back with them, what disturbed me most was not their technology, but rather how they do things nothing like we do in Siracusa. They knew that Siracusa's officials were never going to turn their backs on the old guard of the familia, so they never required those officials to defer to them in public. All they needed was for them to turn a blind eye at just the right moment, or whenever it was convenient for them. And what can we do? Getting rid of those officials won't solve anything. Try to settle things with them directly. They're not stupid enough to give the game away. Despite the not insignificant amount of power and influence we have there is nothing we can do about them. I believe that you, having spent a number of years living in Lungmen, should be more familiar with their way of doing things.
To the point I almost thought I was back in Lungmen.
But here in Siracusa, few people even realize how big the shockwaves from the Colombian approach might end up being. You know, Signorina Texas, when I really dove into the nitty-gritty of this approach, to better understand it, the only thing I felt was admiration. The weapons they develop are profits and negotiations, not violence and bloodshed.
So you also studied their methods?
Studied? No, I'll do it better than them. And Karachi is my trump card. Recently there's been a sudden outbreak of assassinations on government officials around the city. Though I haven't confirmed who's behind the attacks yet, I must ensure the safety of Ministro Karachi. He's an interesting man and prefers to walk over taking overtaking the car. Even though I have people protecting him in secret, I do not feel at ease. Now, I've already given them a heads up. Go bring him over to the banquet venue.
The target is crossing the street right ahead. There should be at least 7 mafiosi covering him from the shadows. Seems like there won't be any major issues. Would you look at that? Didn't I just say something good was about to happen? Texas, care for some Mafia?
Crazy Pants is on the move. Anyway, this will mark the end of the story narration, but we are not fully done yet. Because once this is completed for the first time, this little thing opens up here. Now, what is this? Essentially, from what I'm gathering right now, we're going to be following along with different characters from the story, as you can definitely tell by the silhouettes already, as they are going around the city and doing their own thing, with special challenges and stuff. So, this does include some extra story here, which we will be obviously going over. So, first we have Chelinia, Texas. Wrathful yet calm, stagnant yet ever coursing. The lone wolf who returned to the rainy city. Nothing has changed in 7 years. Perhaps finishing up the tasks she was given one by one will let her leave sooner. So, once that is active, we pretty much are following her through node number 1, node number 2, and it will continue in node number 3. But while I cannot read it from here, I can read what was happening on the first 2 nodes, luckily from over here. So, first at the pizzeria. We have our boy from the beginning. Hurry up. The fighting started. You over there, if you're not gonna run, at least get out of the way. Texas just to herself.
This place hasn't changed one bit.
The bystanders disperse in a panic, but Texas remains seated at the table, looking at the pizza that was just brought out to her. That woman over there, don't forget to take care of her too. Didn't you say killing civilians is too messy? Doesn't count if they're asking to die. What the hell's going on? How is she this strong? Ugh, just get the job done first and worry about her later.
The food's totally ruined now. Somebody hiding under the bar. Looks like the shopkeeper's kid. No loose ends.
Wanna go back for her? Wait, hold on. Wait, hold off on that for now. I didn't get a good look before, but the color of her hair and eyes. We'd better figure out who she is. And obviously that was included with an operation that you complete. But we continue on to the next destination. Shady Park. A good place to enjoy the breeze. However, the residents don't get too close to the 3 shaded areas, not since the body of a sanitation worker was found there. Yikes. Anyway, Tex is monologuing to herself.
I even gave my lunch money to the boss. Guess I'll look around somewhere else. What's this?
An exquisite poster is plastered on the wall, and the words printed on it are extremely conspicuous. La Morte di Texas. Texas stands beneath the wall and looks up. For the first time since she returned to Siracusa, she feels like laughing. Received La Morte di Texas promotional flyer. This is the first time our familia's name has formally appeared in the title of a work of art. The people who awaited it did not realize what this signified, that the winds of change had begun to blow. And we have another note here at the Chitanoa Main Street. Oh, you're the lady who saved my child. I'm delighted to see you again.
You're in a good mood?
Sure am. The judge over there just told me she knows which familia is responsible for this mess, and even promised that she'd get them to compensate for my losses.
Compensate you?
Sounds strange, doesn't it? Judges can't usually do anything to those big familia, but this judge is different. She'll pull through for us, and because of her connections with the Bellones, the other familia don't dare lay a finger on her. Having a judge like her around means the world to us. Texas feels a familiar exhaustion rise up inside her, and she knows exactly where it is coming from. For a moment she was worried about the judge's safety and well-being, but this very quickly proves to be unnecessary. And that is that for now. The rest will be unlocking, obviously, as we go through with the stages. So, like I said, this will be it for now. I will not be touching the stages here in the back, or rather the scenes here in the back, or locations, however you want to call it. Considering that these might be connected to the other characters, we're gonna be reading them and including them once the time comes. If the stages, however, will not be included, I will be obviously including them just as we are gonna be going through the narration itself. But anyway, this will be it for today. I hope everybody enjoyed. This is just part 1, and it's freaking 2 hours, over 2 hours long. Jesus. Yeah, this is gonna be a beefy story. This is gonna be a beefy story, that's for sure. But anyway, there's gonna be much more on the channel over the next couple of days. There is like, I don't even wanna say the number because it causes me a headache. But there's gonna be a lot of operator records coming out as well in between these narrated parts over the next couple of days and weeks, because they added way too many. 2 of them were delayed from another patch. My poor resources. Anyway, hope everybody enjoyed this narration. This part 1 for Il Siracusano. Hopefully my Italian pronunciations for some of the words weren't. Oh, I hope they were alright. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like on the video. It helps it a lot in the algorithm. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. As I said in the poll video, there will be also a live stream on YouTube side for once. Probably in the same day where this video comes up. Where we're gonna be going through blind on the IS-3 train. The depression train. We'll be leaving the station very soon. Oh boy, cannot wait to read through those. And yeah, it's gonna be fun, question mark? But yeah, I hope to see you there. If not, I'm probably gonna do this once per week for IS-3, because I do want to have some kind of live content for the channel here, and not just on Twitch side. And speaking of Twitch side, I do stream, if you want to see me play or just interact in general and chat around, I do stream almost daily. This week will be a bit weird considering how dense it is with stuff, not just with this, believe me. But I do stream almost every day over on Twitch if you want to see. Currently, as I'm recording this, going through God of War Ragnarok and enjoying the heck out of that, the game. So if you want to drop by, link is in the description of the video. As is a link for the Discord for the YouTube side of things and the Twitch side of things if you want to more easily follow along with what is happening and just chat around with everybody. But yeah, anyway, long story short, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this part. Very interesting beginning, especially with the Wolfie there at the very beginning, and an Emperor. Oh boy, I have no idea where this story is going to be going, but I'm looking forward to reading more. But yeah, anyway, I will see you in the next part and hopefully in the live stream later today. So have a good one and good luck on the Texas polls, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.